Hi, welcome to Haven. This is a podcast as a safe space for curiosity and conversation. I'm your host, Haven, and today I'm curious about what are your petty peeves and what are we supposed to do about it? I'm actually going to pause here and ask something of you as a listener. So wherever you're listening to this, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, watching on YouTube, would you actually pause it and go subscribe so you can be a continued listener? Or maybe you're already subscribed, but you haven't rated it or reviewed. Will you please do so? I'm trying to grow this, and the way to do that is through you and through engagement. And typically I'll have this kind of call to action at the end of the episode, but if you're anything like me, the second the content's done, I'm just switching over to the next thing. So I want to put it here in the middle. I'm going to humbly ask, will you please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you're listening to this? Thanks. I want to hear about what are your petty peeves and what are we supposed to do about it? So we all have pet peeves, little grievances, little behaviors that kind of annoy us or get under our skin. But I want to take it a step further. I think a lot of us also have petty peeves that are very dumb, and we know they're dumb, but they still bug us. So what are we supposed to do about it? So I want to bring in a guest who is going to go into the danger with me, aka sharing our opinions on the internet about things that bug us. So I want to welcome my friend Eric Roy.
What up?
Hey bud.
How are you?
Good to have you back.
Yes, thank you for having me again.
Someone else this past week was like, the episode you did on being a shark and going after what you want. I love it. It's my favorite one. And it was such a callback because you were one of my first guests.
Yeah. And last time it was 5 a.m. and now it's not 5 a.m. And I was just saying it's so much more comfortable being here in the middle of the day on your couch as opposed to like the butt crack of dawn. So thanks again for having me.
You're welcome. Get better and better every season.
Oh, yeah.
Season 3 it'll probably be even more comfortable.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Okay, so are you ready to read off our petty peeves?
I'm like so looking forward to this. It has bothered me to no end that you won't let me read yours. So I'm very excited to do this. And even as I was looking at these that I wrote, I mean, we've been working on this list for like 2 months. Mm-hmm. I'm like kind of like chuckling to myself on what I wrote.
We've been working on it for 2 months because it was kind of aligning the schedules. And I thought, okay, hey, if we're going to do this, let's set up a shared note. And then as they come to mind, we'll put them on there. Because I was like, it's the worst of trying to recall them. And Eric, within 24 hours, we were scrolling. Like, our list was so long within one day.
Yeah, it was like, Haven edited petty peeves. Haven edited petty peeves. It was like, go 20 minutes. Haven edited petty peeves. I'm like, wow, like what's happening right now? And it was almost kind of like a view into your life of like what was happening based off of like.
Well, the last couple of weeks I keep updating it when something else annoys me. And so much so, when I was prepping for this, I was like, are we going to have to pretend and be like, this listener wrote in these couple ones because they're so long? But I was like, nope. We're going to be honest.
These are all ours.
These are all ours. And so I thought, let's read them back and forth to one another.
All right, cool.
Okay, well, I'll read a couple and then you read a couple. Okay. My first one. People who say things like, great, or, oh, I want a burger, or that's green. Like a weird guttural stop. Like once you hear it, you can't unhear it. And you'll know the people that do it. They'll be like, yeah, I'd like to go to Kroger. And you're like, stop saying it that way.
My thing with that is like grocery store.
Grocery.
You
know what's almost worse than that? Is people who call it market. I'm going to market. I'm like, Vaughn's is not market. You sound bougie.
Do you hear people say that?
Reality TV people say it.
All right, well, they're not real.
No, they sound bougie. Okay.
Except for Danny and Nia, they're very real. And I don't know if you
have love them.
Sorry, just like immediately off topic, but like they're
plug
real.
for the Valley. Our friends Danny and Nia are on it, and they're actually lovely people, and they're too good for this world, much less reality TV.
Much less for the Bravo world. They're way too good for the Bravo world, but they are crushing it, and I think they're raising the bar, so I just want to throw that out there.
Agreed. Okay. Next one, I said slow walkers, but to be honest, super fast walkers too.
Okay, I'm offended by that because I've been doing a lot of traveling this week, and I get off the plane, and I'm just like blitzing past the people in front of me. So I am the fast walker.
Yeah, like I feel like there's a really respectful pace, and if you're going to be slow, get out of people's way. And if you're going to be fast, your urgency is also not my problem. So don't get mad at me when you're fast.
Okay, this isn't on mine, but in addition to walking, Europe has this nailed, like especially with like when you're in London and you're traveling. But if you're gonna stop on the escalator, it's like a very un-American thing to do. But like stop on the right side, so that all of us who are in a hurry, who want to get to places before we die, can walk on the left side. So
this is cathartic already, and we're like 3 in. I'm gonna read one more, and then you can go.
All right.
Because my next one is someone who never asks you questions back.
Yeah.
That bugs me so bad, where I'm like, how many times am I going to have to ask you? And you don't care about my side of the fence.
Okay, I have an idea of why that bothers me. But in the spirit of this question, why does that bother you?
Deep down, I think it's just because it's devaluing and it makes it feel so one-sided in like an interview versus a conversation. What's yours?
I think that it shows that they're not practicing active listening. They're thinking more about what they're going to say next.
So what I was thinking...
That's it, I'm done.
Agreed. Your list.
Okay. All right. Number 1 on my list is people who ask questions that they could have Googled. My favorite website in the world is Let Me Google That For You. And you just plug in whatever it is they asked you, and then boom, there it is, the answer.
That's so... And then do they see that you Googled it, and that's why you came to the answer?
The link is a GIF. So it turns it into someone navigating, typing in something, and then hitting, like, moving their cursor and then clicking search. So it's a very passive-aggressive way to say, like, the information is at my fingertips as well as yours.
Talk about petty. Next.
Yes. Oh, my gosh, being late. Which is ironic because I was late today, but I told you. But if you're like consistently a few minutes late to a meeting, just that drives me absolutely insane. I said, TBH, I don't like people with tons of food allergies. I think I wrote that in the moment. Like, I still like people with food allergies, but honestly, like when you're at dinner with that person who's allergic to absolutely everything, or Joe Smith, if they have preferences that prohibit them from you also eating some really phenomenal food, that's like a pretty big pet peeve of mine.
And that's why these get murky and tough, because I'm like, some of the best people I know have some of the most severe food allergies, and I deeply care about them, but it is inconvenient sometimes.
It is. Like, sometimes I just want to have peanuts on my pad thai.
Ooh. Hot takes. Okay, ready for the next one of mine?
Go.
I actually put dog ownership. Because now that I have a kid,
I feel that.
Every time I see a dog, I think you smell and you require a lot to take care of.
Yeah.
I don't like dog ownership anymore.
As a dog owner,
You've never liked your dog.
No, we did. We did. We liked him for like the first few years. He's living way longer than we would have thought he would. And I got home from a trip, and I was walking up the stairs, and my dog ran out, and like the kids ran out, and said hi to the kids. And I looked at my dog, and I had this thought in my head, and I told Tess this the other day. Tess is my wife. I told Tess, I said, I literally looked at Edison, and I thought to myself, I feel nothing. So yes, +1 to dog ownership.
Owners everywhere are very sad. Okay. Oh, yeah. People who speak clearly, then when it comes to ordering in another language, overemphasize the words, even if it's the proper and correct way, you annoy me. Like, I don't want to be like appropriation here of giving an example, so you may want to, my producer may cut this out, of like, I've been friends who are like, oh, I like a croissant, and you're like, okay. Or like people who, okay, my husband speaks French and he could do that, and it still is annoying if you overemphasize the correct pronunciation of the word.
Cool.
Okay, my next one. Oh, okay. People who pause or say things slowly with direct eye contact afterwards for emphasis, waiting for your action to what they say. But I don't want to react, so stop trying to force me to.
I don't feel like that happens in my life, or I'm just unaware.
You're probably, when someone's going like, if they share something of like, yeah, and they were late. And then they look for you, waiting for you to be like.
That happens sometimes. I got you.
Yeah, I don't like being forced into agreeing with someone.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm an 8. I just will not agree.
He's an Enneagram 8, so yeah, the challenger would not feel the same burden that I feel to respond at that level.
And you're also incredibly, like, on top of being an Enneagram 3, you're like incredibly empathetic. So I think that lends itself to, I have to react. I have to respond.
Yeah, it's a 3-wing 2, which is the helper. So I want to like meet you at that level, but I don't want to be forced into that.
Yeah.
Which was what it feels. Give me some more.
Okay, this one is funny. When my phone autocorrects to duck. Just gonna leave that one there. Amazon Prime Video's user interface is my biggest pet peeve. It is trash, absolute trash. And I know it comes for free with Amazon Prime, and I just sometimes want to like slide my finger on my Apple TV remote and get to the middle of the show. And I think a $1 trillion company could solve this, but yeah, drives me insane.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
It truly is the worst.
Yep. Especially when you have a toddler screaming at you to get to like a specific part of Pinkalicious. It's like, okay, I can't. And then while we're on like tech pet peeves, the North Up on Google Maps' interface. I don't know if you've ever plugged in CarPlay on your phone, like you're navigating somewhere and North Up is selected and it just doesn't show you like, it shows you where the map is oriented with north up, but if you're facing south, it looks like you're going backwards on the map. And I don't understand the application for that ever. And there's no way to turn it off.
Real problems.
Yeah.
I have a tech one. People who screenshot something, but all that I'm noticing are your 150 unread texts or your 400 unread emails or your like 2% dead battery. I think you're a psycho.
So Carlos Pimentel.
I don't know anyone who screenshots it. I'm like, I don't know the point you're trying to make. All I see is that you are on like minimal battery life.
Yeah.
People who take their shoes off on planes or have long hair in a row in front of me or are eating stinky food.
Are you talking about like long hair and then they put it
Where
over
they put it over the headrest and then you're like moving it away.
Yes. Yep. But then, okay, then maybe we'll get into this a little bit later, but that's a tough one because then you see videos of people who like violate the person who offended them. And I also don't like that. So I feel like there may be, a considerate middle ground there, but yes.
Keep going. What's yours?
Oh yeah. No. Did you have another one?
I have a lot more.
Okay, cool. Plaque on people's teeth. Just go to the dentist. Insurance is required in like most of the United States. I think actually insurance is a requirement in all the United States, in all of the United States. So just go to the dentist, chip that off, and take care of your teeth. Another one. I don't know if you'll agree with me on this one, but when people think that I want to listen to whatever it is that they're listening to. So if you're on public transportation and someone's scrolling through Reels and they've got it like full blast, if someone decides that like their soundtrack on their walk or on their run is like now your soundtrack, that just absolutely drives me insane.
That's very ironic to hear coming from the man who put a Bluetooth speaker on the kid's stroller that we've walked with and listened to. What are you talking about?
I am my pet peeve.
What? You literally have done that.
Many times.
Did you annoy yourself?
No, because it's my music.
Oh, you don't want anyone else's music. Gotcha. Okay.
I also try to be considerate of like the volume and like aware of surroundings. And I do it when I'm like going around my block. So
I'm curating a great playlist, guys. I'm thinking of you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Some modern feminism that says like dressing overtly and like uncomfortably scantily clad is female empowerment. I still think it's still catering to the male gaze. So I actually don't think it's empowering to do that.
Yeah, like, put them away.
I don't know. Like, I just think you're still doing it for the male gaze. Like, I don't think it's typically comfortable to do most of those outfits. Personal take. Eric not canceling LASIK so he could do my podcast in 6 days' notice. That really bugged me.
Are you serious?
I put it on there because when we made the note, you were going to do it. And then you're like, oh, no, I have LASIK. And I was like, well.
Sorry, I just have this life-changing surgery that I can't move.
I said it's petty peeves. I didn't say I stand behind these.
Okay. All right. One of my like really big pet peeves is when a man, I wrote when a man, and then in quotes, boy, doesn't give up his seat for a woman.
Yeah.
I hate that. In any kind of a setting, get up. And you know what's even worse? It's like someone sitting there and then a woman walks in and it's like, oh, I could get up if you want my seat. No. Like just get up and like inevitably someone will take your seat. But I just think that it's pretty courteous and kind as a man to do that. And so when I don't see that happen, I'm like, yes. Okay, another petty peeve of mine, bad breath. It's a big pet peeve. I have bad breath, but I don't right now.
I'm not going to smell. Take your
so
word.
I found this mouthwash called Closys, Closys. Been using it for years. It's not like a really harsh mouthwash, but it neutralizes like the bacteria and like the odor causing stuff in your mouth, and it'll literally last all day long.
That's, copper tongue scraper too, because a lot of bad breath comes from the tongue.
Yes, but the tongue scraper also though, like kind of, I don't like it. It kind of hurts my tongue.
My sensitive mouth. I had a teacher that had horrible breath, and she would come over and talk like we're a problem, and I was like, it smells like literal poop in your mouth.
What good motivation to like learn. I have no questions. I got an A+.
No, got it, girl. I got it.
And then on the topic of like plaque in people's teeth is sleep in people's eyes.
Oh, I call those eye boogers.
Eye boogers. Yep.
Yes, it bugs me myself, and when I see my kids, I'm like, let's get this out of there.
Yep.
Those are good. Okay. I think everyone should have do not disturb on their phone when they're sleeping, because if I'm texting you at 5 a.m. because you came to mind, that's a you problem if that wakes you up. What do you think of that one? Agree or disagree?
I don't know. What if it's an emergency?
Then you call twice and it wakes them up.
Yeah, but what if they move on to the other person because like when you're in an emergency state, you're not thinking clearly.
That's the opposite point of what I'm trying to make. I'm saying when someone doesn't have do not disturb on and I'm texting them and I'm waking them up, that's not my fault.
It's also not your problem.
Yeah. Okay, so we agree.
Okay.
Now a quick pause to hear from my sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Efficienade. Efficienade offers fractional virtual assistants whose sole purpose is to help people who are making a difference. Are you bogged down in your email and still managing your own calendar? Delegating those tasks to a high-caliber career assistant can free you up to utilize your time towards the areas of your best and highest use, allowing you to focus on the areas you truly thrive in. Learn more at efficienade.com. That's efficient, AIDE.com. Okay, back to the episode.
Okay, someone being more concerned for my kids' safety than I am, it's not from a lack of supervision. I'm allowing them to struggle and possibly even hurt themselves. So I don't like it when people try and go in and save them or tell me it's dangerous. You feel that one?
Yes. Like we'll be at the park and Rooney's trying to suss something out and she's learning the boundaries of her body. And then this helicopter mom will come in or a helicopter dad will come in and try to protect or parent me on how I need to parent my daughter. And I'm like, back off. Do not tell her what to do. Don't tell me what to do. I don't even know if there's an appropriate way to engage in that setting. But I'm an active, involved, caring, loving parent. And I think there are some instances where it's like, okay, I need to let her try to fail. Or I need to not try to fail. I need to try to let her fail.
That happens to me all the time. They'll come and like try and like catch them or kind of be on the side or whatever. I'm like, all they have to do is fall once and then they know, okay, I don't want to fall there again, or I need to listen to my body or use balance. But when I have that a lot where parents will step in and it really bugs me.
Yep.
Okay. This one's about Aaron. If he chews near or around my ear, it's very annoying. He'll come up for a hug, but if he's finishing a mouthful of food, I'm like, get off me.
Yeah. Tess hates how I chew gum.
Just gum?
Just gum.
How do you... That's so annoying.
Okay. You know the worst thing ever? When you go over to someone's house for dinner and when you get there, they start cooking.
Ugh.
And like we've done dinner parties with each other at someone else's house in the past where that has been the case. And I know because like we'll walk in and I'm like,
it's so like you're hungry. You're like, should I have pre-eaten? It also gives like the Office vibes.
yes.
Of like that worst dinner party ever.
Yes.
Where they then come in and she's like, great, 3 hours to go.
It's also the best episode ever. On the topic of dinner, when you're out to dinner with friends, everyone's having a great time. The waiter walks up, interrupts you. And I get that that's their job. That's not the pet peeve. Hey, are you guys ready to order? And everyone's like, yeah. And then there's the one person who's probably the most extroverted, hasn't even realized that there's a menu out in front of them. And they go, oh, by the time you get to me, I'll be ready. And they're never ready.
You know, another side of that, of a different polarity for that pet peeve is we would go up to a drive-thru, and before we even pulled into the lot, my dad's like, "Do you guys know your order?" He would do that every time when we're so far away, and I was like, I can't even look at the menu. Like, I don't know, because he would get the same thing every time, but he was so stressed that we would get up to the window and not be ready that it was like a running joke where it's like, we're 5 miles away. Like, do you guys know your order? Are you ready?
As a former fast food employee, shout out In-N-Out, where I used to work, taking the orders from families where it was like high stress and them yelling, it makes it so much worse than actually the breaks in between where everyone's trying to figure everything out.
Wow.
Because you're normally multitasking.
Okay, as a former In-N-Out employee, so when I drive up with Isley, I'm trying to teach her to speak up for herself. So I'll roll down the window and let her order, but she'll be like, "I want a hamburger and like French fries and ketchup," or whatever. And then like the lady's looking at me like, "Is that okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then like Echo's ordering and he's confused. She's trying to talk. So it takes longer when I'm trying to teach her a lesson. Is that not the time to teach her a lesson because they have a stressful job? Or is that okay that I'm letting her like take up this employee's time?
I think like, oh man, I don't know. Because I'm trying to go back to what I thought as 16-year-old me. But if you, again, I'm like, okay, 16 years old. If like someone came up into the drive-thru and said, "Hey, I'm going to try to let my kids order, but if it gets too wild, like I'm still here." I don't know.
Okay, preface it. Because I'm like trying to do it, but sometimes it takes her a long time to get her words out. Or then Echo is for sure just yelling over her his order.
Yep.
Okay, noted. Flash mobs. That's all I'm going to say.
Who hurt you? Why? What possible reason could you have to dislike or be peeved by a group of individuals sharing a common interest, trying to bring joy to the life of others?
Well,
I've never even done a flash mob, but I'm curious.
When you put it that way, I'm now retracing my steps and regretting it, but I think it's because there were so many on the internet that I just got very bored with them, and I think it's an unoriginal way to propose.
Okay, cool. Are you going to keep going, or do I get a turn?
No, I guess more. People blocking a boarding lane when they're group 7, but group 1 is being called.
Get out of the way. Get out of my way. Like, I paid a lot for this ticket, and I want to sit, and I want a place to put my bag, and skedaddle. And when I'm group 7, because I didn't fly it all last year, and I lost all my status.
R.I.P. I've heard about this about 8 times.
It's really bad. I'll go straight from Sky Club to like boarding group main 4, which is like group we're checking your bag no matter what you say. I still wait. I get out of the way.
It's etiquette, just like an elevator. Elevator etiquette is waiting to the side of the elevator when the doors open to see if people come out, and then it's your turn to enter. Do not rush the doors right when the elevators open.
I did a not nice thing this week.
What?
I was walking out of an elevator, and there was a man standing there, and he was in my way. And so I just like walked by and I hit his shoulder and I said, "Okay." Like, it wasn't even a good, like, no one learns from that.
No. Well, it's also, Aaron will sometimes, he'll be upset like when people are doing that, but he'll just kind of call over to me, but it's really to the person of like, wow, like people really don't know etiquette these days, or just being like, wow, someone's in the way. And it's not
as I'm overly loud about
exactly. And I'm like, we know who that's for.
Yes.
Okay. Speaking of planes, let's land the plane and do a couple more and then get to the second half of what are we supposed to do about all these opinions.
I have so many more, though.
I know, so do I, but I can't have this episode being like 2 hours long.
True. Okay. Can I get like 3 more?
Yeah. No, do as many as you want. Just let's get punchier.
Okay, cool. The coworker that decides to microwave salmon. Also, follow up to that, people who call salmon salmon.
Who does that these days?
I don't know. My mom had a friend that used to call it salmon.
Salmon.
And I was like, you just sound not smart, uneducated.
Curbing that.
Yes. Okay. I really, this one drives me insane. Car accident or siren sounds in rap songs. Why? One of my biggest pet peeves.
Yes.
This one maybe hits a little bit like closer to home. Anyone who closed-mindedly forces me to believe their open mindset beliefs.
That's a deep one to
Sorry,
unpack.
I just described to a different belief system. We can still get along. We can coexist. We can love each other. I don't know. Another one is when the ketchup or mustard bottle sharts. I wrote down leggings are not pants.
What does that mean? Because I like leggings.
Yeah, but like if you're just not like yoga pants, but Like if you're just wearing like leggings and then it's like kind of see-through and no one wants to see that.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Kind of. I mean, wait, I'll wear like workout clothes out.
Workout clothes is different.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not European. I don't mind like
It's like, what do you have against yoga?
No. But like not yoga pants, but like leggings.
Okay. Copy.
Like cotton leggings. That like should go under something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is it my turn now?
No. Another one. Kim Kardashian. Just overall is a pet peeve.
Really?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No?
I don't know. She doesn't. I'm neutral.
All right. And then the last one on that theme is any influencer doing anything ever.
You're speaking to a new influencer. And I'm doing something right now with you.
True.
I'm actually kidding because I would call myself a podcaster, not an influencer.
I would agree. You're not trying to influence anything.
No, I'm really not.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm just trying to ask more questions.
Yeah, you're creating a safe place for conversations.
Is this very safe? As we just diss everything. People who sneeze into their hands and not their elbows.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't, like, even my 2-year-old does that. Mm-hmm. Well, she's 4 now, but when she was 2, she would sneeze into the crook of her arm.
The quick.
Crook.
I was like, is it called the quick of your arm?
The crook.
The crook of my arm.
The crook of her arm.
The crook of my arm. Okay, this is my last one on my list. But we have some listeners I'll get to after. But for me, people, aka men, saying, I'm a hugger when they first meet you. It creeps me out. I went in for a handshake. He's like, I'm a hugger. And I was like,
Oh, yeah. If you already go in for the handshake.
Yeah.
Okay, but what if you're kind of fumbling around and don't know what to do and someone's like, hey, it's okay if we hug? Or if they say that because they can tell that you want to... No? Right.
I never convey that I want to hug.
I don't do that. I don't do that. I'm just asking.
No.
Okay.
I never give the body language of like, oh, please hug me, stranger.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to say it. Restaurants that are still closed inside from COVID, like Go Get 'em in West Hollywood. It's over. Open it up. Let us in. Go Get 'em. I love you. I just want to be inside. Whoa. Not like that.
I know. It's a weird way to word it. Are you ready for the listeners? I'm going to add some listeners while you're still finishing your list too, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
So the listeners, I put this on Instagram, and these are some of the top responses. Not using blinkers or turn signals to alert the cars that you're turning.
Sorry.
You're talking to this guy. People not returning shopping carts to the designated areas.
I fully support that one. Mm-hmm. Like, just be considerate.
Mm-hmm. People chewing ice.
Okay. Also, sorry.
This one you can't relate, but every woman listening. Sports bra pads coming out in the wash. It is so annoying to try and put those back in. And which bra did it go with? Like, why are they not sewn in? Like, I kind of get it in theory, but you're washing the whole thing.
Why do you need them?
The pads?
Yeah.
Because you need structure with your bra and you don't want to be cold in the
Isn't
gym.
that what a sports bra is?
No, it does need padding on the inside. Unless you're doing a bralette, which is no padding, but then if you're cold, everyone knows you're cold.
Oh, because pointers.
Yes.
Okay.
Then other people's blinkers are on.
Yeah, no. Got it.
Okay. Enough clarity on that one?
Yeah, no, I'm done asking questions.
Okay. People that make being late a personality trait. Mm-hmm. Talking over others. Repetitive nervous habits like smacking your mouth or bouncing your leg.
Man, people who bounce their legs, it's like that impacts everyone. And then you have the leg bouncers that like bounce their leg to the point in which it shakes the table that you're sitting at or the floor that you're on.
That's a toughie one.
Yeah.
The last one on here is people saying dismissive things about sports, like calling it sports ball.
What?
Like calling sports like the Super Bowl of like, yay, go sports. It's like dismissive is what they're saying.
Oh, okay. Cool. All
okay.
right.
Give me the top remaining ones on your list.
People who pretend that they are cars to save a parking spot for a friend. You're not. People who walk in the street when there's a sidewalk. Use the sidewalk. I wrote, oh my God, online recipes get to the point.
That one.
And then people who say they're going to do something, but then don't.
Wow. What a list. My concern, admitting to all of those, is that now someone is going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm an offender of those, or I've done that around you, and then be uncomfortable around me. Because that happened to me once. I had a friend who said that she thought people blowing their nose around other people was rude. And then I cataloged, oh my gosh, I've totally done that. And I had no idea I offended you. And I'm so embarrassed. So I'm also like, okay, now that we've done this, what do we do about it so people are not uncomfortable?
I think on one hand, though, like, can't we argue that that helps make you better? Not succumbing to what someone expects of you or making someone else's personal preference a now daily behavior of yours. But pet peeves are pet peeves for a reason. So your listener that wrote about blinkers, I don't use my blinker a lot, but me hearing that, like, does that help me drive safer? And does that help offend less people? Not that I care about offending anyone, but like, can I be a better part of society?
I think some of the lists that we read, for sure. But some of them that are downright petty, like me saying great or burger, like that has no effect on anyone. No one should change because I say that's annoying. Like those are my own. I think what I would also just like think on my side of like, okay, what can I own is like, this is just a personal preference. And I also don't want to expect other people to hold themselves to this standard that I think is annoying or not annoying. Yeah, I think that's pretty like egotistical to be like, everyone should change to meet my preferences.
Yeah, and that's not, I don't think that was like the nexus of this. I mean, it would be great if people didn't block the jetway, who are in boarding group like never.
Yes.
But I think there's also something to be said that the things that we see in others that bother us the most are probably reflective of the things that we are most insecure about or most that bother maybe us the most. Because a lot of the things that are in this list, I do. Like we had friends over the other night for dinner and they're like absolutely wonderful. And they live in Stockholm. They're in town and we were like, hey, come over for dinner. And they have like a really, really, really little kiddo. And they came over and we mostly had dinner ready, but like life happens. The kids have temper tantrums. I'm trying to cook. Tess is trying to take care of the kids and clean the house. And dinner was ready like 20 minutes after they got there. Like it wasn't ready, you know, and when I say 20 minutes, I mean, it was like probably 45 minutes after they got there with hungry kids and the whole 9 yards. So I think also being aware of what bothers me personally so that I can be better in some of those areas is like really helpful. Not being the one that's like not ready to order when it comes to my turn.
Well, I hear two things out of what you're saying. The first is like admitting our own hypocrisy of like, this list I've done, if not all of them, a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of them.
Yep.
And yet it's still annoying me. So I think sometimes a pet peeve is because it's striking on a value we have. And so it's upsetting to us when someone else is violating our value, but we give ourselves slide to like, well, if I do it, you know I really value this. You know, I'm only occasionally doing it, but we don't give any grace if someone else is going to like upset a value that we have.
Totally.
Like even I think the elevator one of like standing to the side, I value like communicating to someone else of like, we're not more important than you. Like you came first. There is order to this and I will respect that and I will respect you. I think standing in front of it is communicating an impact of basically disrespect.
Totally. And there are some times we used the elevator example. And I was on a trip very recently where I walked into someone, you know, pretty much on purpose. I was going to say kind of on purpose. No, it was like fully on purpose. Did that for me. And then I was getting out of I was getting out of an airport tram and it was at the end of the stop. And so enter and exit was on the same side of this airport tram. And I was waiting to get on. And I was like directly in the way of the people that were coming in. And I tried to move out of the way, but I was like, dang, I am the person that I hate.
Yes. And I think just so much of it is like realizing that like pretty much anything that's externally going to bother us, it's an internal like problem. Not problem of like, oh, I should solve it in myself, but it's saying this is like something on my side of the fence. It's not out here. It's my internal. Because also someone who had more grace for someone could be like, okay, that's annoying. I'll stand aside and walk around them.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy you said grace because the question that I was thinking while you're talking is, oh my gosh, like, so how do you practice grace in those scenarios?
I think so much of this is, first we have to admit that it's annoying, like, which is just is like not pretending that you're superhuman because I'd like love to be I'd love to pretend to be like, nothing bothers me, nothing gets under my skin, you know, and it's just not the case. I think a lot of it is just being like, that bugged me, but well, like, you know, you do you, or that's an issue for them. That I think it's worth saying something if it's someone that you're in close relationship with and it's more than just a personal preference. It's like, hey, I'm not sure you're aware that when you do this, it communicates this, or the impact it has on me is this, and then having a conversation. I think like a stranger on the streets, not the time to have it. I think, like those ones in passing, it'd be more gracious. But I think also if it is something that is bugging you a lot, I do think it's worth to at least talk about it. Doesn't mean they have to change it, but you can say, hey, you may not even be aware. This is the impact of what that behavior is to me.
There are also like ways where you can use humor to get out of that. My brother, he was super young. We were in line for coffee in Mammoth, and my brother kept stepping on the guy's shoes that was behind us. And you could tell that he was annoyed. I didn't realize it. My brother didn't realize it. And then my brother did it again. And the guy looked at my brother and he just smiled and he said, it's all good. You got the tops. I got the bottoms, like that. And then my brother was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I was like stepping on your shoes, so it it wasn't this long drawn out conversation, but it was also like, it was bothering the guy. And then he used humor to disarm and everyone was happy.
I love that. It made me think of a time that I didn't handle it with grace and how I wish I would have done something differently.
Tell us.
Okay. So, when I was pregnant for the first time, I underestimated the amount of like energy it takes to grow life. And I did not have a lot of patience for other things. Like my typical level of patience was so on the ground that the way I would naturally handle things or intentionally handle things, it was very difficult for me. So another one of my annoying pet peeves is like a dumb policy that's just for the sake of a policy. So one time I went to order a smoothie and it was like a rectangle kind of area. You order here and then they have the pickup in the back. But
ordered your smoothie from where? Tell us.
Body Works.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you could say that because they're not.
I can say it because
anymore.
they're closed. And it was just a rectangle and there's no one else there. And I was I was going to say severely pregnant.
What smoothie did you get?
It's called the G-Spot. And it's very awkward. One time I was on the phone with my dad and I was like, hold on, Dad. Like, I'd like that. So
can I get G-Spot with extra protein, please?
But that one is the best one. It's like blackberries, raspberries, and peanut butter. Anyways, so I am making this order super pregnant. And then they call out the person. It's just one person running the shop. They make the smoothie and then they walk to the other end of the restaurant and call out my name. And I was still standing there and I was like, oh, like, do you mind if you could bring it like here and I can grab it this way? And the person working there was like, well, no, like it's actually, our policy. We have to order it in the back. And if I was not pregnant, what I would have done would be as I'm walking to get the smoothie and complying, I would say, I'm sure you're just following orders, but maybe tell your manager that it doesn't always make sense when there's no one else in the store. And I'm sure it's just because you don't want smoothie over the cash wrap or spilling. But when it's just one person, like maybe consider, like there's so many better ways to do this. But I was so pregnant and so tired that they were like, oh, you pick it over here. And I just stood there and I go, that's weird. And I stayed there in silence until they brought it over to me. I did not. I was just like, that's weird. I didn't say that's a dumb policy, but I just literally said, that's weird. And I made her bring the smoothie to me. She was just following her policy and orders. And if I had done it graciously, like when I'm not pregnant and I have more energy, I could have done it better. But I just was very rude to this employee.
Okay. Very vulnerable. Thanks for sharing. I feel like I'm the host now. Okay, but like go back to the place of health, like what you would have done. Is that even the employee's feedback to give? Or is that your feedback to give to the person that's setting the policy? I think it's telling the employee of being like, hey, as a customer, the impact is like, that's really strange to inconvenience me as the customer. But if they're not in charge of the policy. I said to tell their manager. Right, but now you're making it someone else's responsibility to tell the manager. I don't want to email. I don't want to like. Then get over it. Okay. Because I don't know. I'm should I have emailed in because I don't want the person to get in trouble by me emailing and say, hey, they
they didn't do this the way that I'd like them to.
I think it's all about how you communicate things. Like, hey, your employees are great, and they explain that this is part of your policy. Wanted to bring some feedback directly to you. If you're open to it, I'm super pregnant and making me walk through a very long, narrow store to get something when there's no one else there and it doesn't inconvenience anyone, like maybe a policy that you should consider. And then they'd probably say something back to you like, yeah, we can't bring the smoothies out next to the cash because, for food and health safety reasons, like, we can't do that. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
When you word it that way, I do agree that I could have taken it even further.
Well, no.
And I think it's right. I think it's like, why was I then being like, putting it on the employee? Like, it is my problem with the policy. It is my feedback.
Yep.
I think you're right. Why go to someone who is not even the decision maker?
Yeah. I don't know.
Are we going to do that with all of our petty peeves? Of like, let's go to the airport workers and say, don't let these people stay in here.
They try.
They do try.
They really try. This happened to me when I was in Sacramento. Oh, and by the way, like, I got to Sacramento and I scanned my boarding pass and it said, you're at the wrong airport. Has that ever happened to you?
One time I tried to board a flight going to Los Angeles when I was supposed to go to Burbank, and I got all the way there and they're like, what are you talking about? Your gate's over there. Because I wasn't thinking that I was flying into Burbank. So that's my only relation.
Okay. Yeah. I was like completely at the wrong airport. I was at SMF and I was supposed to be at SJC.
No.
Anyways, the boarding agent, gate agent, the gate agent was starting to call groups, and then everyone started to fill into the Sky Priority lane who was like trying to board onto the plane, and he kicked everyone out. He said, we're not getting onto this plane until you guys get out of line.
No way.
Yeah. So he made everyone get out. And I was like, kudos. Nice.
So when I'm thinking of like our whole discussion here, like what I've heard of, like, one, okay, very funny to read the list, but it really is so much more telling about ourselves. Like, it's not other people. It's like what you had said before of like what you see in other people is what's, bugs you about yourself.
Yeah.
I think knowing that a pet peeve is likely tapping into a core value that you hold that maybe other people don't need to hold.
True.
And I think the hypocrisy in of ourselves of like, we all violate our own values and our own pet peeves, but it feels a little like more righteous to get mad at someone else.
Yeah, and it feels okay when you do it, as opposed to when someone else does it to you. It's like, I can violate my own policy. I set the policy. I set the policy that I don't like hearing someone else's music, but I can violate that policy because I'm the one that's doing it.
Yeah.
And so I say it's okay. One of the things that I do that like drives Aaron, not your husband, Aaron McManus, crazy the most is when I'm done with a water bottle, I'll just like unscrew the cap a little bit and crush it into like this tiny little ball. And then, I put the cap back on. And every single time I do that, him and Tess will like look at me like, are you kidding me? And someone else did it to me the other day. I was like, whoa, that's really annoying. But I don't care when I do it because I'm the one that's violating my policy.
Right. So I think sometimes it's also, I think what you said of like, sometimes someone's pet peeves is like actually a way to make you better when they share it.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot to explore there too of like, okay, when do you say it and receive it?
Yeah.
Because I think that matters too. I think we already kind of talked about it where it's like if it's bugging you enough and if you're in close relationship, but I think the overall like not solution, but just the only way to land it is like grace.
Yes.
Grace for other people, even grace for yourself of like, hey, I can be hypocritical.
Yeah, and I think navigating life, trying to correct one of those a day, like not to sound cliche, but it would probably make this world a much more habitable place to live for everyone, is just being like that extra level of considerate and understanding that everyone has a story of like what they're going through. Everyone that's listening to this probably identifies with it in one way or another, but if we could all just change or fix like one thing that helps us be a little bit more considerate in our actions, and then lead with grace in how we receive, I think could have like a significant impact.
Totally. This episode was very fun to prep for, and so I'm
So
sad
fun.
that it's over.
I know. We could still keep the note going because I still had like 15 that I didn't even read.
I know. I was like, man, for time, we got to like move this
Yes.
faster, but we had more. But I think that was also why I didn't mind it to be rescheduled, because I was like, more time to put on little violations.
Yes, and I'm getting LASIK again next week. So
What happened?
do you want to talk about a pet peeve? Like I go in, they Xanax me out, I get LASIK, and then this eye didn't heal, like fully corrected.
No.
Yeah, so I have to go back.
Dang,
Talk
well,
about a pet peeve.
At least it wasn't today.
Yes.
That would have been a double pet peeve.
Can we do that? No, it'll break the mic.
I think we can. We did. we did.
Cheers.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. If you have a new pet peeve that was not on this list, I would love it. You can email hello@havenpod.com. If it's good enough, I'll share it with Eric on our own list because this is enjoyable just for us.
And please don't cancel us.
Please don't. This is vulnerable to put our opinions out there. And even as I said them, I was like, what's wrong with a flash mob? Nothing is my problem.
Flash mob mafia is coming for you.
Right? I know dancers and I really care about you guys. I know people with food allergies and I care about you guys. So
Tess is the reason why I can't have peanuts. It's my wife.
Oh.
I know.
Sad.
I still eat peanuts, but the people closest to us sometimes are the ones that bother us the most. So we love you.
Another different episode in and of itself. But thank you for listening and tune in next time.